Just a long lost look in your eyes brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Or don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild. Oh, from the dawn we rise, with the heart we cry, into the light we go, into the light we go. From the darkest night, from the fire inside, into the light we go, into the light we go, into the light we go.
Welcome back, everybody, for more LCK action here live at the Nexon Arena. I am Valdez. With me is Papa Smithy. As always, we're jumping into the last day of the regular season of the LCK. It's a beautiful Sunday evening, and we got SKT versus KONGDOO to start the night, and huge implications for playoffs.
All good things have to come to an end eventually, Valdez, and that means we have match 89 and 90 of the regular season. Still, we do not know the full picture of the playoffs. We know KONGDOO Monster is in relegations, but SKT, they need the victory by any scoreline to jump above ROX Tigers and join KSV in the playoffs.
And everybody's saying that it's impossible. KONGDOO Monster, they kind of look like they've signed off for the season. They're down in relegations. They have no hope. But they have one hope, Papa, and that is to upset everybody that is a fan of SKT. And that's the big question. Will it happen tonight? Let's introduce our teams first off.
이들의 행보는 이미 정해졌습니다. 하지만 앞으로 나아가야 할 긴 여정이 이들을 기다리고 있기에 LCK에 걸맞는 팀이란 걸 오늘 증명해냅니다. KONGDOO Monster!
KONGDOO Monster, they still get the big intro here, especially at SPO TV, but they're going to be introduced to relegation soon off, and that's not going to be easy for them. But as I said, they can play spoiler here for SKT and the rest of LCK to kind of mess up the playoffs and not have SKT in there.
It's a tale of woe that extends 13 best of threes, only 2 game wins. But all streaks have to come to an end, right? That is the thing, is that you follow some of those narratives. If it's stranger than fiction, then maybe KONGDOO Monster change the playoffs in the biggest way possible and somehow gatekeep SKT. It seems so unlikely. Like you mentioned, they seem like they've been done for a couple of weeks now, and yet the what if is enough for every SKT fan around the world to watch and need to see it for themselves. They need to see the victory before they truly believe.
Yep, you never count anyone out here at the LCK. Just yesterday, we almost had a very surprising result with KSV getting really close and against defeating Kingzone. Didn't quite get there, but then at the end of the day, Jin-Air actually upsets ROX Tigers. And as long as SKT can win tonight against KONGDOO Monster, ROX Tigers, they lost their playoff spot.
We say we have a #1 team, we also say we have a #10 team, and maybe that doesn't extend to KONGDOO Monster, this hope, this sliver of hope. We'll wait and see, though.
안개 속에 감춰져 있던 또 한 번의 기회가 오늘 그들을 찾아왔습니다. 그리고 오늘 그들은 직접 그들의 손으로 운명을 개척합니다. SK텔레콤 T1!
SKT, the fans came down tonight. It is totally sold out here in the Nexon Arena. Everybody wants to cheer them on in their last regular game here. The regular season going to finish with hopefully a win for the SKT fans tonight.
And for the SKT roster, they return to what is working. Tal, the baritone singer in the top lane.
Oh, yeah.
People enthralled by his deep voice in the interview OGN had last time out. Effort is also preferred to Wolf. This is the roster that's been working, and Blank, Mr. Top 10 in solo queue, will be continuing his spot. Will he continue to get Zac, though? Because 4 games in a row of Zac has propelled Blank back to relevance after a season of struggling in the jungle.
Certainly, KONGDOO Monster, if they did their research, they have a lot to learn from this recent lineup of SKT. Not just Blank, but you know, Faker on the rise. Everybody talks about his rise, but this season, he's 3-6 on the rise. Not a winning record, and not a great one at that, so we'll see if maybe they let that go through as well.
Hey, he's still the best rise of the 2 players. Unfortunately, Edge is 0-8 on the rise, so maybe we just skip rise for today.
That's not fair. You can quote anyone on KONGDOO Monster, and they've got a pretty abysmal record on any champion.
Hey, Roach is 2-0 on Gangplank. He's popping off.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Secret still has a winning record on Alistar.
He's better than Effort, 1-2. Stats tell the entire story, guys.
Yeah. Certainly a lot of fun when you quote certain stats here. We'll probably get into more of that a little bit later, but let's first take a look at some of the stats. They are struggling. Definitely the understatement of the season, Papa.
It definitely feels like their pain will be over after this series because it's been a terminal illness almost, this struggle. 2 wins and 26 losses is just, struggle's not the right word, right? They have really been completely out of it in the LCK. They've had some nice patches of play, but not entire games. They've had some very questionable performances. They need a chance. They need some sort of a silver lining, and I don't see it.
Yeah, at the top it just said, we kind of just want to say nice things about them. They're trying. SpotTV is certainly trying with, they are struggling. Get yourselves to the playoffs, SKT. They first had to get through that barrier of KSV, and they crushed it, 2-0. Made it look easy, and then we said they have a very easy schedule after. MVP into KONGDOO Monster. It was looking dire before those games, but now it's certainly possible for them.
And it's been so clean, 2-0, 2-0, looking like their old selves with this roster we didn't see coming. Bearing the junglers, Blank has been in great form on the Zac, and we have to remember that it's only been on the Zac that he's been able to turn back the clock and look like a competitive, aggressive jungler. Question to a lot of fans will be, if the Zac is banned today or taken away and he performs, is it KONGDOO Monster or is it Blank who has increased his level of performance? You could argue that this lets him play himself into confidence on other picks because they are widely expected to easily beat KONGDOO Monster 2-0.
I think pretty much any team here in the LCK has earned that right, but we'll see if KONGDOO Monster can turn that around. The difficult but inevitable fight. Bang with the highest KDA in LCK. Soul, in my opinion, down at the bottom of the 80K, or rather the 80 carry role here so far, but we'll see if he can pick it up tonight.
KDA-wise, you're very much on the ball there. Bang has the highest season KDA of any player in the LCK, and Soul, who had some good appearances on KONGDOO and tough struggles for them in 2015 and 2016, really hasn't gotten it together, so it's been a poor season by his standards. Usually KONGDOO Monster builds around their 80 carry, puts them on a Cogmore, tries to hard carry like that. That has not worked for KONGDOO in 2018.
So we're coming up to this match. It's certainly going to be a fun one. We're expecting SKT to win. We also got KT Rolster versus Afrika to finish out the regular season, match 90. It's not going to matter in terms of playoffs, but it'll be a good read on where those 2 teams are going into playoffs. And I'm not expecting the upset here. What are you thinking, Papa?
I'm thinking it's all about SKT today, Valdez. Hard to vote against them.
Yeah, certainly feels that way. It looks like the pick and ban is ready, guys, so let's jump into that right now. Oh, we're already halfway through the bans here. Azir, Galio taken away from Faker, and And then the Jin, the first ban. They don't want to let Seoul play that or Bang play that.
An old Seoul pick. I think Seoul was one of our first Jin players in Korea way back when in 2016 spring. We started to see the Jin, that utility AD carry who got buffed on this patch, and a couple of buffs over a couple of patches made him very relevant. If you can keep the amount of tanks down on the enemy team, we saw that in full effect yesterday. Very, very quick bans. And look at this, KONGDOO MONSTER will blue side ban away the Zac. We will get to see SKT on a different jungler, which will be fun to see. And Raze has had some good performances on the Olaf. So will we just see Blank jump on the Sejuani? That is the tier list pick into the Olaf, but has been a struggling pick for Blank in particular.
Certainly a big question, but we'll probably get to other picks first. The Xayah Rakan, definitely something that stands out. That could be picked up here for Bang and effort. The Xayah gets locked in. Will her lover also be locked in here is the question. Not yet seems to be the answer, hovering that Talia.
A lot of teams on the red side would first round Xayah Rakan, but remember that SKT are actually a team that values Xayah over Rakan. They will take the duo if it's up, but they want to take away the Talia, and they've actually run Xayah Janna to success very recently. So they are one of those teams where Xayah is higher prized than the Rakan. They're happy to go with the Xayah, and if Rakan is taken away for some sort of patchwork comp on the side of KONGDOO MONSTER, they'll go for something else.
Yeah. KONGDOO MONSTER seemingly just going down the list, the tier list that is, picks up the Olaf first when it's available. They lock in the GP and the Scion. So everything that people are saying are strong, KONGDOO MONSTER is picking them.
It is also saying that it'll be a Scion top lane because it's not going to be a flex pick with the gangplank you imagine. Short of a Galio on the mid lane is Faker, just having a bit of fun, showing a Shaco. I don't think we're going to see Blank Shaco today, but that would be very exciting.
Yeah.
Old Faker champion hovered here in the Master Yi. But it seems like it's going to be Tal's pick in the first round. They will be going Vladimir into the GP, trying to bust down the GP. We saw this very recently. Tal was able to win in this exact matchup a couple of days ago against MVP, even though it was a resolve tree gangplank, which has been the new norm with the Kleptomancy changes and also the support changes that have come in over time. No AD carries locked in just yet. KONGDOO MONSTER desperate for a hyper carry. You would think a Kog'Maw ban would go a long way, because when you see the Scion, having a hybrid AD carry is a nice way to go.
Yeah, certainly seems like the safe way to play it here. Gonna take away the Rakan just to take that Xayah Rakan synergy away, but as you mentioned before, SKT doesn't seem to care about that. We'll see if they focus a ban towards the jungle afterwards. They can certainly lock down another big pick away from Blank and hurt that pool, but as you mentioned, another carry, but it's Caitlyn here, not the Kog'Maw.
Need to be happy with them opting into Kog'Maw. They have backline threat from the Vladimir, who can go Ghost Flash, Proto Belt, get himself there, and a Sejuani ban. So we're going to see something new from Blank, I'm hoping, in this particular game. Maybe no on the Camille and Jax. Let's see something different. But the Jarvan was brought back for the first time in a long time yesterday. Hasn't been a pick in the LCK for a month, even though it's been a staple of the LPL. He finds reliable engage. It's a classic pick for Blank and all junglers in the LCK. The return of the Jarvan 4.
Yeah, he's back. Seems like somebody's family has come down to the studio. It's Edge's family, actually, just getting the word here. Looks like perhaps grandma and the dad and a sister from the looks of it. But we also got Ezreal and Alistar. Secret, we mentioned his Alistar before. He does have a winning record, 4-2, and he gets to play it tonight.
Ezreal Alistar have great synergy also, because when Alistar roams, the Ezreal will be there to do his job, can farm from range, is very, very safe. Some damage concerns for KONGDOO MONSTER if the gangplank falls far behind. Ezreal's all about timings, and sadly, KONGDOO MONSTER hitting those 2-item power spikes has been something they haven't been able to do reliably, whereas SKT have a lot more damage on their side. Big question to me is, it's Blank on a different champion, but it's also Blank against KONGDOO MONSTER. So will he play himself into form on the Jarvan, or will the same inconsistency problems that have plagued him rear their ugly head against KONGDOO MONSTER?
I certainly think that 4 games in a row can build your confidence and say, hey, I remember how to play the game. I'm no longer 6'12", I know what I'm doing in the jungle. And I think he's got to prove that tonight, right? If he comes in here, he plays Jarvan, and he gets wrecked by Raze in the jungle when he's not playing Zac, that raises gigantic questions for the current form of the SKT jungler.
Imagine SKT are going to play very proactively. Vladimir should have lane control on GP at one item. The Talia and the Scion both have the ability to roam, so that'll be a fun lane to track. And I imagine Raze and Blank will make some visits there. You know, all about Ezreal, Alistar. Very safe lane until they turn on. KONGDOO Monster want to play spoiler. They have nothing else on the line. They will be our 10th place team. SKT with a victory can jump as high as 4th and get side selection in the first match of the playoffs next Saturday. It's all about SKT for most of the fans. They've got a very comfortable comp here, but until the job is done, people will be worried.
Certainly, people are watching this series and saying, can they do it? Still questions on the mind, even when they go up against KONGDOO Monster. I'd like to say yes, but I think they got to prove it here in game number 1 first off to get us a little bit more confident. Looks like the countdown is ready, guys, so we're going to jump into game number 1 right away.
You lied.
Spicy beginning to the 89th match.
We've been told just a second, so hopefully that represents a short pause, but we have no insight into what the problem is. Hopefully our producer can let us know.
Sol wanted to play Kog'Maw, but accidentally picked Ezreal.
That's a pretty big problem.
You know, certainly seems like a big Kog'Maw player, but then I look at his stats, he's played more Ezreal. We have a problem with Tal's game settings, so we're going to have to wait and get that fixed.
But hopefully we'll be able to get into game very soon. That seems like a single restart, so hopefully the audio issues stay away. That's been our big problem this season.
Yeah.
Mostly at the OGN Stadium, but a couple at Spo TV as well. Seems like most of the issues have subsided over here, Valdez.
Yeah, we've been fixing things.
Bathroom is in full
little
working
by
order.
little, yeah. No toilet issues this time around.
Chair issues.
Yeah.
I think there was a rumor of one, but we were okay.
Yeah. Game is ready though, so no issues to start this. As I mentioned before, the SKT fans coming in large numbers tonight just to support SKT in their last match.
I'm guessing it's probably 90-10 in terms of fans in the audience, even though there are equal numbers of fans on the SKT and KONGDOO Monster side of the audience. I think there's some turncoats in there, Valdez. I'm skeptical. There's that many KONGDOO Monster fans.
It's always hard to say, but in this case, I think it's pretty obvious. Who knows, though? If KONGDOO Monster win game 1, I'm sure we'll have some of them turn their coats right back around to the KONGDOO side. Turn from red to green.
It'd be amusing if, like, to get themselves good luck, they all stood on the SKT side and we just had a blank side and a massive side. Anyways, we go to this game. It's going to be a hard leash provided for the Jarvan, who needs all the help he can get against the Olaf. Whereas Ezreal and Alistar get to lane first, and that should mean early lane control to KONGDOO Monster.
Already KONGDOO Monster in the lead in this one. I'll try to tone down my bias just a little bit.
Please check your bias at the door.
Yeah, you know. So far SKT definitely has a winning record. Surprised actually that KONGDOO Monster did take a win, but that was when SKT was struggling earlier on in this season. I remember KONGDOO Monster in their first matchup against MVP, they 2-0'd them, and they looked really strong, and we were saying, whoa. The joke we were making about the 4Ks in LCK seemed to actually be coming true with that win, but that was also when MVP themselves were struggling a bit.
If you want to remember the victory, because that was actually one of only 2 game victories that KONGDOO Monster picked up in their 13-match losing streak. That was with Raze jumping onto the jungle Camille and playmaking in the early game. That was the big thing there. Playmaking of a different type is available on the Olaf, but a bit more obvious rather than the very creative path that you can take with the Camille.
Yeah. You're talking about the game that they won against SKT.
Yes, sorry.
Of course, yeah.
That was their single win, 1 of 2. It's actually
a very roam here.
It's a pretty standard invade. We see very often the Talias roam from the red side top lane, getting a teleport.
Well, that's going to be the teleport out of Edge here. They're waiting for the cancel, but because they're on a ward, Edge actually does complete it. And the mind games will actually go to the side of KONGDOO Monster as Raze goes to the Mountain Drink.
So a lot is happening here. In bot lane, we're seeing some trading as well, but that will be disengaged on. You need to complete that teleport, otherwise they just straight up dive anyway. Gave some time for Raze to start the Drake, but he's already falling so low. It seems like he's going to be unable to do it. We've seen other junglers solo the Drake, Peanut, for example, at 3 minutes, but it seems like the calculation was off, and all the Drakes have a slightly different profile. So Raze, you know, he backs away. He can still clear his jungle, but no early Drake to the side of KONGDOO.
Yeah, it was looking good for them, you know, just the teleport to save Roach up on the top side. No early first blood, and then Raze with the miscalculation, as you mentioned. Still keeping up with Blank, who was getting a little bit aggressive up on the top side, so will not get too far behind.
And Roach has gone greedy in the Keystone choice. We've seen almost no Kleptomancy on Gangplank this week because you can't pick up the insane gold generation of the support items with Bandit into the Kleptomancy after the hotfix on patch 8.5, which we are on today. But he is going Kleptomancy anyway. And we saw Resolve Gangplank against Vladimir in the first round, Robin, when Gangplank was much stronger because this matchup is so tricky. Tal can stick with the Ignite on a lower cooldown with the Unsealed Spellbook and just kind of rush him down again and again. Not necessarily in the first 5 levels, but as the matchup goes on, Tal will be happy. He may be sad now, though, as Olaf is here.
Yeah, still getting that red buff and the slow from the barrel. Tal in a lot of trouble here. Will be forced to flash away, but the flash on from Raze. They're going to get the first blood over to Raze on the Olaf. Very nice gank in the top lane.
Actually a big mistake from Tal. An old counterpick to top lane Vladimir was top lane Olaf because the pool has no value. One axe hits, the second, the third, you're dead. Uses Summoner anyway, and now Roach has an even safer time with no flash on the enemy Vlad.
You were just talking about how Vlad is going to have such a fun time against Kleptomancy GP, and Tal was trying to make that work up on the top side, but Raze, really good timing on a pick that he's shown he's good on. KONGDOO Monster off to a good start.
The only way you get away is if you flash and Olaf lazily throws out an axe and misses the first one. Raze was aware of that, flashed himself, hit the point-blank axe, and too easy for Raze, who hasn't picked up a victory on the Olaf, but has looked generally good. We know in the early game, this is where he shines. Trying to recreate solo queue with some very aggressive ganking paths. So far, so good.
Yeah. I'm sure already the SKT fans and Komar are sitting there saying, not like this. But it's just the beginning of the game. Certainly gives a better time to the top lane GP. Bit of trading down on the bottom side. Secret, we mentioned before, his Alistar's pretty good and showing that off so far.
Bang Zaya, though, has been a highlight. Doesn't get the Janna this time, and the Rakan was not opted into either. Being blank on the invade.
Oh, you're even gonna flag and drag. We got level 6 Faker on the Talia. Thinking about a wall up here onto the GP.
Once
really
more with feeling on the turret dive attempt. While Roach has the stopwatch, remember, it doesn't arm till 10 minutes in the game now, so it doesn't give him that one ability to disengage. We should take a step back and talk about the comps. KONGDOO Monster, they are running the mid lane Scion for the 3rd time. It is on patch 8.5 with the less generous hitbox on the Roar of the Slayer. It's a lot about timings, a lot about roams, a lot about Baron control, and fighting when Ezreal hits 2 items. These are all things that KONGDOO Monster have struggled with. They do have the Gangplank, so there's a bit more of a bridge into the late game, but there is almost no magic damage outside the base damage on the Cannon Barrage, the True Shot Barrage, and also the Scion. So there's not a lot of magic damage as the game goes on. Very easy, specifically blank an effort to itemize. So KONGDOO Monster needs to keep it up, and this would be another good start.
Oh boy, Effort in a bit of trouble. He has to get over the wall here, but already he's low with the Ignite ticking.
Oh!
They're not gonna follow. Oh, the last tick gets him. Not sure if the Cannon Barrage helped right before the last tick, but either way, he goes down.
It goes down. The Ignite was so late and ended up picking it up. They can't steal away the blue. But KONGDOO Monster, just like Jin Air yesterday, with nothing on the line, are being very aggressive, trying to break some hearts today. Still very early in the game. Still, you love SKT scaling as the game goes on. But KONGDOO Monster are fighting when they're strong in the early game, and they're doing it well.
Looking pretty good so far, that's for sure. Already 1,000 gold ahead, but let's see. Effort just trying to ward in the river, not respecting the Alistair engage, and Raze is right there.
It's what happens when you leave open Olaf, and we're not seeing any big picks into the Olaf. The axe didn't hit there. That's why the Cannon Barrage came in. They didn't think the damage would take him down. There's no Ignite buff on patch 8.5. That's an 8.6 change. They're able to pick up the kill, able to heap a little bit of scorn onto SKT. Plenty of time to stabilize. Bot lane farming very, very well. Those little voices are getting a little bit louder, Valdez, and that's already scary enough for our big SKT fan contingent.
They were barely whispers before, but now I feel like there's some mutterings here in the studio.
We've gone from whispers to polite speaking voices.
Yeah. And, well, just more training in the bottom side. You can see that Secret and Soul are not afraid to get their hands dirty, especially with Secret on the Alistair.
I actually saw Soul miss his ult and Q, so that was unfortunate. They back away. Faker uninvolved in this game, apart from 2 roams to the top side that haven't been able to generate a kill. The stopwatch finally going to be armed in 50 seconds to allow the Gangplank a bit more safe farming, and the Trinity Force is well on the way. See what SKT's focus is going to be, as Blank has been their playmaker, even on the Zac, who traditionally doesn't gank till level 6 at kill involvements pre-15 in all of his previous 4 games. This one is back to the first 4 matches of the season, when Raze was the true playmaker for the side of KONGDOO. Wherever he's gone, he's been able to relieve and create pressure, and that is heartening to see.
Certainly is. A little bit of confusion on the side of SKT. They go to start the Drake, and then they decide against it. I guess they spotted that they were on a ward, but it was good timing because Raze had just went back into the pool, but at the end of it all, they do decide against it, and the Mountain Drake will still be surviving.
Raze getting more and more powerful. We'll see if he goes Black Cleaver again like he did last time out. That was from behind, wasn't a big fan, but if he keeps snowballing, that could be good. He's looking for a lane gank.
We got Olaf coming down here.
Nose Efforts Summoner is still down, so probably the Braum they'd be focusing on is Exercise in Frustration, trying to kill Azaya.
Speaking of frustration, I've played enough games of Taliyah to know that when you're this early and you can't really find an opportunity to use your Weaver's Wall and you're already level 9, it gets a little bit annoying. They've looked to the top side about 3 times, but so far, Roach has been surviving up there.
And there's a little variable we should talk about. It's mid lane Sion, so he'll be rushing a Banner of Command as his first completed item, and that will make Taliyah even more accountable because she can't push and roam as easily. So already an Aegis in the inventory, mid lane Sion into an AP matchup, gets to build Banner and then gets more lane control to roam first with the Unstoppable Onslaught. So because he hasn't been able to get the roam before the Banner of Command is complete, Frustrating Banner will be there very soon from Edge.
Yeah. Raze a bit higher levels so far, just level 8 to level 7 on Blank, even though Blank does have the extra CS, the extra kill, and the assist, helping out Raze so far. Almost having that Predator available. We'll be looking for another gank soon enough, but Summoners all available on the side of SKT. Speaking of ganks, Blank looking for potentially Sion in the mid lane. Thinks against it.
100% impossible to kill him with Flash Up and an Aegis and a Catalyst already bought. So we'll back away. Maybe if you'd gone Warrior Jarvan, but definitely not that time. Might have been there for the counter gank more so than actually trying to go for a real gank. Again, SKT fans are suddenly nervous. They haven't seen playmaking from Jarvan this time, and Blank's increase in quality of play has been the biggest change for them over the course of the last couple of games. Seeing their shot calling from ahead in the early game, which they have not been for a long time, would have been very heartening to SKT fans because the controlled aggression of previous SKT lineups was in full display. When you have a jungler who hasn't been able to get a kill involvement, the same sort of shot calling is impossible, and the end result has just been quiet farming for the lanes of SKT.
Yeah, they've been sitting back a little bit, not wanting the action. Certainly is great for Roach up on the top side, who is ahead of Tall in terms of gold, I'm sure, even though he's down about 16 CS. That was supposed to be the hard lane for Roach, but having a bit of a better time after the gank early on from Raze.
We'll see if he respects item timings here, though, because Tall will go Proto Belt. That gives him even extra impetus to dive. will Roach build the Spectre's Cowl that we almost always see against Vlad? Because if he goes full damage thinking, hey, this lane's going better than expected, still will have a very difficult time entering lane as Tal does the same thing he did last time, where he changes to teleport on first back and then back to Ignite for his next visit to lane with the Proto Belt. He knows that now he's very strong.
Certainly, and Secret, he has picked up the Moby boots, so I'm going to be looking towards him to be making plays for KONGDOO Monster. Certainly, with Raze on a bit of a carry jungler and Secret on his Alistair, this has been the moments where KONGDOO Monster have found the little success that they've had in LCK so far.
And it's not the moment where Faker gets tilted by a Banner of Command minion, but we're just waiting on the tank, the cannon minion to show up. He has the Banner of Command complete, does Edge.
Raze always threatening near the mid side. That Dragon is still available. Seems kind of funny with all the early takes we've seen with Olaf on the Rift recently.
2 waves, no cannons so far as Edge is taking a bit of trade damage from Faker.
Is he though?
I mean, I did say bit. The thing is,
Yeah.
he roars and then the Catalyst provides him another 20 health, so it definitely doesn't stick, Valdez.
Having a little bit of trouble with the CS though. So that's something that SKT should be happy about, I suppose. Down a bit to the Taliyah here, about 23 CS.
Secret wanted to interrupt the back, but not actually commit to headbutt Pulverize because Ezreal wasn't in the lane. No one's getting a Drake, apparently, even though Xayah just recalled. That's information to KONGDOO. That's why they start off the Drake.
Yeah. Well, looks like Faker is going to rotate first. Sion, of course, doesn't seem to care about that. The wall comes in, though, but Edge gets on the right side of it. Not going to do much here. Can they disengage? They're actually going to go for the engage. Going on to Effort in the back line. Effort getting extremely low. Faker as well, but everybody dodging the Ezreal ultimate. Looking to turn it around now. The Cataclysm coming in, and KONGDOO Monster going a little bit too far. The kill will go over to Bang on the Xayah after all that.
And a question KONGDOO should have asked themselves is, what are they fighting for? They already picked up the Drake. I understand they have a Trinity Force Ezreal. They did have no vision of the enemy blue buff. They did not know when Xayah would be grouping. Xayah showing up changed their fortunes. And the kill goes the way of SKT. And now Sol has used his Arcane Shift.
Having a bit of fun. You mentioned the Trinity Force. Trying to get their hands dirty once again. But certainly the Mountain Drake will help out when you got an Ezreal on your side. We're going to take another look at this here.
They were happy to have Sion go over the walls and say, okay, we could fight, but what are you fighting for? You have the Drake already. You're going into a narrow choke. You don't have the ability to get to the back. You chunk out multiple members, but eventually, really nice. Use of the seismic shove there. Edge is caught, flashes down. Unnecessary mistake from the side of KONGDOO Monster, but overall, they do pick up the Mountain Drake.
Was very close. Soul actually baited out 2 flashes to get away from his True Shot barrage, as the slow-mo from Spo TV showed you guys, and certainly could have been a couple of kills had that landed, but at least KONGDOO Monster can say we got some of their summoners after that big fight.
Trinity Force Ezreal needs to find a way to control this lane a little bit more because it is Essence Reaver, a building block item, and Trinity Force, a massive power spike. Completed for Sol. Raze here to join in on there being no summoners on Effort.
Yep, he doesn't have his flash this time around, trying to stand beside one of the minions. A nice little stun coming out from Bang. Heal forced to be used. Bang trying to carry this so hard. They're going in deep, but there's the blade caller, and here's Baker from the mid side. Soul is going to be going down. Raze with no escape as well. And this gets turned on its head after all that. Going to give the double kill over to Bang, who's currently 3-0 and sitting pretty in this game.
They leave the kills over to the Xayah. Nice to have that ability. Suddenly 3-0-0 is Bang. The cannon barrage positioning was off and had no threat onto the members of SKT. The roam down was predictable but well engineered. Now Bang has the kills. The bot lane turret should be the first to fall. And SKT take control of game number 1.
Just a couple of fights that were invested in by KONGDOO Monster. SKT kind of laugh at them and say, okay, we'll be willing to fight you, and it's going to mean the first blood turret in the bottom side, some more extra gold over to Bang, and, well, he seems to be the carry of this game so far.
So you watch the replay and you can understand what is being tried here, but you use all of your CC onto Effort, and Secret doesn't have ultimate, or at least doesn't use it at the start of the fight. By the time he uses the ultimate, it's irrelevant. The cannon barrage isn't in a great spot because SKT stay right next to the wall. Faker gets there first. There's no ability for Sion to react because Unstoppable Onslaught can't get him there fast enough. Ends up being too easy for SKT. They even get preferential choice of where the kills go, and an Essence Reaver Xayah turns into an Essence Reaver Static Shiv Xayah from one fight.
Yeah, he's going to be having a bit of fun down in the bottom side. So much for that Trinity Force. Ezreal will certainly be having some trouble against the 2-item Bang at this point, who also did pick up Ninja Tabby to deal with that Ezreal even more effectively. Faker on top of his game tonight. He doesn't want to drop out of playoffs. He will always be there first. The Taliyah, as you mentioned, will have the faster roam, and he makes it work. Not late on that at all. We are going to have SKT blanks starting up that Rift Herald. So far, no vision around the objective for KONGDOO Monster.
And KONGDOO Monster want to be fighting now. They don't quite have the Muramana, but otherwise they're basically ready to go for their early game power spike comp with the Ezreal and no magic damage. But now that Bang is cheating the curve a little bit, having his damage items earlier, makes it trickier and trickier for KONGDOO Monster to execute on a comp that was already hard to execute. Usually we advise teams in KONGDOO Monster situation to go for easy to execute wherever possible, because there's already been other parts of their game that have let them down. This one's pretty narrow, Valdez, and while the door's not closed, it's ajar. And SKT, with another teamfight win, will probably close the door on KONGDOO Monster in game number 1.
Certainly looking like that. I know the KONGDOO Monster and anti-SKT, the Rocks fans out there, they were getting a little bit excited. Perhaps that's what turned this game on its head after all. And yeah, looking good. Faker going to come down here and respond to Edge in the bottom side. And with the second Mountain Drake up here, we'll see if KONGDOO tries to make a stand around this objective. Certainly Double Mountain could help accelerate their game plan a little bit if they can pick it up here.
KONGDOO Monster have a big lack of vision. You'll see one control ward on the bot side, none on the top side. SKT's control vision is good, but it's actually around Baron and not bot side of the map. So they don't have exclusive vision in this area. It's pretty even, actually, as we'll see if Raze is trapped. Not quite.
Good response there from KONGDOO Monster. Interesting to think whether or not they wanted to fight in the enemy jungle from behind, or if they really just wanted to bait out that ability.
It is a bit surreal that KONGDOO Monster watches as SKT replaces their control wards on the other side of the map and have no control wards of their own in their inventory. When it comes to vision control, the staple of good gameplay in the LCK, they've got none. They very much only have completed items. That does not usually mean that you can fight for objectives. It usually means you have to sit in the mid lane and fight 50-50s rather than look for any plays, as Bang, of all things, might try and steal away a blue buff.
Looking for it there. Turns out there is none, and the Rift Herald not really getting the damage it wanted as Bang just moves away, and KONGDOO Monster seemingly reading the situation very well, expecting that. Now they're going for a fight here onto Bang. Here comes Sion from the right side, going to be interrupted by Blank afterwards. And the engage from KONGDOO is not going to net them any kills.
Yeah, easy to flash away from the headbutt when you see the headbutt pulverize coming through from Secret, so Bang will live. Always good to get the Xayah a bit more immobile in the next fight. And the Hexaflash will be available for Secret. Drake priority has been low, though, so Bang doesn't necessarily need to open himself up to any sort of action in the next 4 minutes or so. For now, though, seems like SKT are visiting the bot side. Some lane wards. They haven't spotted out Olaf, but they're making a smart read. And they're not coming. They see Alistar. They don't see Olaf, and SKT will rush down the Drake after all.
Yeah, easy peasy. You mentioned the lack of vision. We'll see if KONGDOO Monster make a desperate attempt to engage here.
They
Trying
do.
to get out to Bang. He doesn't have his flash here, but the axe is going to land. But here's Faker from behind with a huge barrel from Roach. Isn't enough damage. Bang's still in a good place, and the Cataclysm is perfect from Blank to trap them all in. The re-engage here, and the flash away from Effort is going to keep them safe. They are flashing into their deaths here, trying to kill Faker with all their might, but they seemingly cannot on the end of it all, and SKT is going to wipe the floor clean with KONGDOO Monster. Something we've definitely seen before as KONGDOO go a little bit too far.
An air of desperation from KONGDOO. I understand they have earlier power spikes, but unnecessary from them. Not everyone will die, but Tal wasn't even there to start, and maybe I gave Roach the kiss of life too early. He's going to try to recall, but I think he's done.
Seems like he is. trying to get out here from an execution, but Faker will pick up the kill at the end of it all. So an unofficial ace going to the side of SKT.
Fiesta starts early in this game. Let's watch the replay. And the Drake was already claimed, and as we've asked KONGDOO before, what are we fighting for? The answer is flashes down on Bang. Let's go for this. Notice that it is a true 4v5 as Vladimir is slowly walking the entire time with Ignite. Meanwhile, great Cataclysm. They do so much damage to the member of KONGDOO Monster. They know Vlad's coming, and so they try to get Faker. They go for the play where they can say, well, I killed the best player of all time, Worth. They dive in, even through stopwatches, unable to kill Faker from this. One by one they fall, and Roach, he goes on a bit of a yakety sax moment. He dies as well, and SKT in a 4v5 wipe the floor with KONGDOO Monster.
Say what you will about Blank, but he seems to be back as a very awesome fight from him. He got the flag and drag onto 3 members, and then the Cataclysm onto 4 members. You mentioned they were going super deep for Bang, but they just could not get to him because of all that interruption from Blank and keeping him safe. So props to him for keeping his team safe and buying a lot of time to win that fight.
And KONGDOO have been guilty of being a bit see hero, kill hero in their approach to games. Remember, we've had games from KONGDOO. Hold the point for now as Soul finds Blank again.
Yeah, Blank coming in with confidence this time is going to trap the Olaf. You can't run through the wall of the Cataclysm. Doesn't matter if you can't be interrupted, as they will pick up another kill.
We've seen games where KONGDOO have sent 5 members to kill people, get 1 kill. Meanwhile, have lost a couple of inhibitors for it. They have very much tunneled down on one thing in a game, as if their coaches said this is the primary objective, and unfortunately, they have forgotten all the intermediate steps to get there. Baron started by the side of SKT. They can always turn from this, and Tal is lurking as well.
Early 2-shot barrage, the wall is going to be quite nice here. Trap's only edge on that side. KONGDOO Monster not willing to fight without him. That will just be the Baron going on over. No chance to steal that one, although the smite was early. And Bang does pick that Baron up. So SKT now about 9,000 gold ahead, feeling pretty good about their chances of winning game 1.
Does seem like already a foregone conclusion. And just so you know at home what the stakes are, if SKT win, they will move to 4th. Doesn't matter if it's a 2-1 or a 2-0. They'll be 4th place and have side selection. If they lose, Rocks Tigers qualifies for the playoffs, as SKT cannot match the amount of match wins Rock Tigers have. They're at 9, SKT currently at 8. SKT do own head-to-head, but head-to-head does not matter for anything other than if it's a 2-1 for the side of SKT, but they own the head-to-head and thus will move 4th. So very simple. They win this match, which looks very likely they will jump to 4th.
Blank now playing with ultimate confidence here, never afraid to flag and drag in. He knows his team will be right behind him in this game. Tal also incredibly strong at this point, just poking 1v3 as the rest of his team does push in. 5 members down the mid lane, says SKT, as they want to end this one fast.
They've got the budget Bannon after the nurse on 8.5. Still pretty useful when not much from KONGDOO Monster can be done to answer the bannered up minion.
You know, it's got that extra range, so we'll eventually push it down. Will they go for the dive? Q's gonna land onto Roach. There's the flag and drag. Secret trying to make an engage on the right side, but here comes Tal down the middle as Raze is awkwardly behind everybody. Tal in a little bit of trouble here, gonna be chunked down, but the Q, and he does go down eventually, but Secret getting low. Blank gonna pick up a kill in the end of it all. Soul with no help on the right side, trying to chunk down effort, but SKT doesn't seem to care as they continue pushing down the mid lane.
Yeah, Bang's actually stopping him from getting in towards the Nexus turrets, which SKT are taking down. 1 down, Effort will teleport back in with his Unsealed Spellbook if he wants to.
Bang's got red buff. He's not letting anyone go home at this point. Not from the side of KONGDOO or SKT. He says, guys, we're gonna end the game right now. As they certainly can. They're gonna take down this last Nexus turret. And Bang just going 1v2 against Raze and Soul, and nobody can touch him. That's going to be game number 1, going over to SKT in 27 minutes.
Job halfway done for SK Telecom T1. Early game, Raze was able to make some good plays, but the moment it turned for SKT, a couple minutes later it turned in the greatest possible way with a 4v5 ace coming through from the side of SKT. wasn't necessarily everything their fans would have looked for. Blank in the very early game wasn't able to make some things happen, but once it got to the team fight phase, it was Blank. Very smart with his team fighting, like you mentioned. A great flag and drag into a 4-man Cataclysm, the highlight from him. SK Telecom T1 should find themselves in playoffs with another victory, and it's hard to bet against it. The 2-0 is looming very likely.
Bang just very nonchalantly, as he always does, takes a sip of his brown water and goes on carrying his Xayah. He's shown multiple times he doesn't need Xayah. He's an independent woman on that pick, and he's done it again with another big carry on the Xayah. So questions to go into the second game. Do you ban that away instead of a Rakan, or what exactly do you do? Blank looked good on the Jarvan. You can't necessarily take the Zac away and be happy about that as well. But either way, guys, we're going to take another break here before we get to game number 2.
안녕하세요. LOL 신문십답의 박지선입니다. 오늘 신문십답의 주인공은 바로 LCK에서 유일하게 같은 팀 선수를 팬으로 두고 계신 쿠로 선수입니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
그리고 오늘의 제이스 선수는 바로 쿠로 선수의 팬인 푸신 선수입니다.
안녕하세요. 오늘의 제이스 투시입니다. 오늘 그냥 코로 형 그냥 머리 박살 내겠습니다. 제가.
Let's get it started. First, can you introduce yourself and your team?
My team is top 긴 정글 스프링 미드 쿠로 원딜 크레이머 서퍼 투신.
So when it comes to introducing yourself, we have to talk about your dimples. Can you dimples? Yeah.
템플.
Dimples on your cheek and chin.
에? 아 보조개.
Can you tell us about them too?
My 턱 is 보조개. 아 영어는 뭐야? 영어는 뭐야? 친 딤프. 딤프. Yeah. My mom is 딤프 is 물려받아서
It comes from your mother.
Yeah, come mother. Yeah.
So from the Spring Split, you're having 9 younger brothers in your team. What is that like?
영어를 어떻게 대답하지 이거? I'm number one.
Number 1.
Yeah.
You got the most power.
Yeah.
Mm.
My team is best. Me.
You're the best.
Yeah,
in your
I'm
team?
best.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're the king.
Yeah, king.
I'm two.
Yeah, two.
You're the king and the queen.
Yeah, one, two. 아, 너 king. What the? What the? My soldier. My soldier.
Your servant.
Yeah.
And you also have a lot of players that love you, like Omti or Teddy, Tuzin. So what's your charming point?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. But I think little kid. I don't know why he's love me.
Why they love you? You don't know?
I don't know.
Then tell us, what kind of relations are you and Tuzin in?
Type? His type is 뭐야 말해줘.
우리가 콜라보 뭐가 우리의 공통점 뭐가 같냐고.
아, I think pig,
You guys are both pigs?
pig and pig, big pig.
Bigger pigs?
Yeah, and 맞잖아.
뭐 맞게
맞잖아. So funny guys.
Funny guys?
Yeah.
원이 팀.
Yeah, funny pig.
Funny pigs.
Funny pig.
오케이, 오그리.
Well, I was actually asking about the type of relationship, 어떤 관계 between you guys, like fanboy and a player, something like that.
Yeah, I'm 일단 I'm brother and younger brother.
Oh, you guys are like brothers.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I'm king.
King
I'm-
and the queen.
Yeah, I know. What? I soldier. My soldier.
Soldier.
My soldier. I'm number one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Number 1, number 2.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay. Africa Freaks is also known for serving great meals to the players.
What?
Africa Freaks, your house,
Yeah.
food so delicious.
Ah, okay. Oh,
Very famous.
Very
Right?
delicious. Delicious.
Mm.
아줌마, 아줌마. 뭐라고 대답해야 돼 이거? 저희 밥 해주시는
하우스 케어?
하우스 케어 마더? This
Cooks really well.
cook very good,
Very good.
very good food.
Can you describe more about the menus, like how delicious they are?
Um, um, oh, I don't know English.
skip chance.
잠깐만요. 뭐라는 거야?
맛을 약간 표현해달라.
아.
어떻게 맛있는지.
어떻게 맛있는지
표정으로
표현해달라. very good. very good.
And last time you posted a picture of your table with a lot of medicines on it. Yeah? Your desk with a lot of medicines.
Okay,
Mhm.
I know. Yeah.
So what are those for?
아, 남자한테 되게 좋은 거. 남자들한테 되게 필요한
스태미나.
영양소들. 네, 스태미나. 비타민. 눈 이거 뭐냐? 루테인.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's say there are all Africa Freaks members drowning underwater, and you can only rescue 2 of them. Who would that be?
물에 빠지면 물에 빠졌어 우리가.
응.
두명 구할 수 있어.
응.
너무 빨리.
No.
I can swim.
No.
I can run.
I can't swim. I'm dog swim. I can dog swim. No.
Well, then if you can swim, who would that be?
No.
Why nobody?
제가 수영을 해도 제가 죽을 것 같아요. 도와주러 가면.
Okay.
I can no die.
You don't
I
wanna
want to
die?
no die.
You don't want to
Yeah.
die. You had the most MVP points in the last spring split.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make it happen this year again?
이번에도 가능하냐?
Ah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a promise for winning the first place?
Sorry. 확신이 없어요.
If you win, is there anything you wanna do as a pledge, or like you're gonna post something special on your Twitter?
I want 일단 게임 win. 게임을 이기길 원하지 MVP를 받고 싶다는 그런 건 없습니다.
Okay. Last message for your fans.
Oh, I love you, fans. Thank you. Everybody, be care. Very, very thank you. Okay, good. Very good.
네, 여기까지가 아프리카 프릭스의 쿠로와 투진 선수였습니다. 다음에 또 만나요. 안녕.
일단 저는 영어를 되게 오래 안 했더니 공부를 좀 손에 놨더니 되게 바보 같다는 거를 오늘 많이 느꼈고 영어 공부 좀 해야겠어요. 네.
저는 몰랐는데 굉장히 재밌고요. 또 새로운 모습을 하나 또 알아서 또 저는 생각보다 영어를 또 하고 또 새로운 모습을 또 봤어요 서로. 오늘 제이스로서 조금 신나게 좀 너무 올라가지고 좀 신나게 팼는 것 같은데 다음에는 저도 이제 약간 영어를 할 수 있는 약간 저의 또 다른 모습을 또 보여주고 싶네요. 지금까지 아프리카 프릭스의 투신 쿠로였습니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
네가 말도 안 되는 예술입니다. 심지어 양 정글러가 너무 작은 거 아닌가요? 정글러가 702, 15분인데.
아니 너무 간단한데요 팀 운영. 이거면 프레이가 프리딜.
더블 킬을 내줍니다.
네. 한이 덮치는 포지션이
그냥 전성기로 마무리.
말릴 사람이 없어요.
Trying to get demons up out of me. Turn to a beast, eat your eye.